Please begin, Mr. Evans.
I'd like to thank the committee for this opportunity to speak on this issue. My name is Stephen Evans. I'm a resident of Port Townsend, Washington, where I'm clerk of the Peace and Social Concerns Committee for the Quaker meeting. And I'm also a member of the Legislative Committee for the Friends Committee on Washington Public Policy. A lot of the points that I was going to make today have already been made, and perhaps it's no surprise that a Quaker would be opposed to war, but we are speaking in support of this memorial. We were talking to some of the vets who were gathered outside in the hall as we arrived here, and one of them was saying, well, you know, Teddy Roosevelt said that we need to speak softly and carry a big stick, but I think that at this point, we might really argue that that big stick we're carrying has grown to such proportions that it threatens to crush us. And with 60% of the discretionary budget of the federal government going towards the military, there's precious little left now for the social programs that we desperately need in these hard times. When I leave this committee room this afternoon, I'll be going back to Port Townsend, where I volunteer at our homeless shelter in the basement of the Veterans Hall. And this year we have twice the number of vets. We don't have enough beds, I mean mostly vets, to house them all. I had a conversation last night with one of those veterans, a fellow named Larry, who's I'd say in his early 60s. He lost his manufacturing job a couple of years to Asia. I mean, you know, his job was exported. He has been wandering around the country looking for work. It's kind of like the Great Depression. I don't see how this war is giving him security. And that's the message I bring to you today.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Pruitt-Hamm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all the senators who are listening to us. I know that as a political minority, also, Mr. Senator Schmucker, I know that that's a difficult thing to be, and I appreciate your role. I grew up in northeastern Washington, in Colville on a farm, and most of my friends were being recruited to go to war, and I had a lot of really interesting discussions and some, you know, heartbreaking stories. But I also work with Fellowship of Reconciliation in Seattle, and as a recent college graduate with a chronic medical issue, every week I struggled to make ends meet with $300 of weekly medical bills and thousands of dollars in student loans burying me at the beginning of my journey of adulthood. This is not the worst of the stories, and the suffering from war is felt in all parts of the country and globe. This is not just a measure coming from me or Western Washington. As in my work with Western Washington Fellowship of Reconciliation, we've spoken with small business owners and school superintendents from Eastern Washington and beyond, racially oppressed minorities sleeping on the streets of Seattle, and Republicans and Democrats in this very town who agree with us that enough is enough when it comes to war spending. It is Washington State's responsibility and privilege to set a trend of asserting that true security comes from funding books, not bombs, healthcare, not warfare, green jobs, not grenades. It's not your responsibility to create a foreign policy plan or exit strategy, but it is your responsibility to assert your people's needs when we're dying from lack of health care, suffering from lack of education. And so that's what we're asking you to do. Set a trend for other states and set a trend for our country. Thank you.
Ms. Reardon, please. Ms. Reardon.
Yes, my name is Maggie Reardon. I'm representing no organization. I'm just here to encourage passage of this memorial. This war is bankrupting this country and state. I believe it's completely appropriate for us as a people to have various representatives plead our desires to the national government regarding this matter. I would like to encourage bringing the billions home and to rebuild our infrastructure, employ soldiers and non-soldiers here at home.
Ms. Reardon. That concludes public testimony on Senate Joint Memorial 8014. I'm going to take us now into executive session. We have Senate Joint Memorial 8014 before us.
Mr. Chair, I move Senate